Right, so we're going to start taking the rear brake assembly apart so we can refurb all that. First thing we're going to do is take the caliper off. That's nice and easy. We've got two, we're going to take the whole thing off, not just the top of the caliper. We're going to take the carrier off as well, which means there's two bolts right behind here on the backing plate, and they're both 14mm heads by the feel of it. So we're just going to undo that and then lift this whole caliper out of the way, then we're going to take the disc off. So can you go and get my blue point toolkit from down there, please? Right, so that should allow us to lift our caliper off like that. Lost a brake pad, but never mind. So we'll calipers out of the way, now we've got to get the disc off. So we can see that the handbrake's already down. That's important. Right, so the we need to get this off. You know what? I should have taken that socket out first, shouldn't I? I said I was going to do it as well and then I totally forgot. Let's go and get the buzz gun and see if it'll buzz it off. Because what I should have done is put my foot on the brake to hold the hub tight and then done it. And like a fool, I've gone and taken the caliper off, haven't I?
What are you doing?
I'm putting some oil in it.
Why are you putting oil in it? It's a buzz gun.
Because with air you get water building up sometimes and it moisture and it can make the inside of your gun go rusty, so you put a bit of oil in every now and again, it stops that from going rusty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, didn't mean to do that. Oh yes! Save me putting the thingy back on now. There we go. Right, so we've got to get the disc off now. And as you can see, it's formed this bit of rust around here and it's managed to get it sealed on pretty well now. Sometimes you can just give them a bit of a bang on the back with a hammer and it just brings them away, but the correct way of doing it is, if you look in here, these are actually threaded holes in here. So what these are designed for is for you to wind a couple of bolts in equally and they push against the flange that's behind here and just pull the disc off there. So we've just got to clean these threads up nicely and find a bolt that's the right size and we'll get cracked on with that. So we'll spray a bit of cleaner in there to clean the threads out, and I have found two bolts which look like a very convenient fit. So because there's a bit of rust in here, now you've got to be careful guys, if there's a bit of rust in there, get a feel. Sometimes what you might have to do is wind in a few threads and then wind back out and then blow the whole thing out to make sure it's clean, otherwise you're just going to snap a bolt off in there and that's no good for nobody. Is it, boys?
No.
It's going in nice and free, I can feel that, I'm not too concerned about that. Let's get this top one in so it starts pushing against there nice and even. Never over tighten one way past the other, because what you run the risk of then is the whole thing just getting jammed. But it feels as though it's starting to move. So you can just see it starting to pull away there from the hub. Can you see that? Just keep going in with a few threads at a time. I mean, the top now looks a bit more stubborn than the bottom, and I can feel this starting to tighten up, so I'm not going to go any further just in case we've got bad threads and I'm going to snap this bolt off in there, which is not what I want to do. So I'll just come back out with that. Yeah, and I was right, you can just see the last few threads, it's starting to cross thread that, so that's no good for nobody. I'll go back in there, give it a good clean, make sure all the threads are nice and clean. That's really important. Wow, give it a good blowout. Like I said, these bolts should not go too tight because that's a sign that there's an issue. So we seem to be, yeah, that's a lot better now. So we've passed through there. We're actually pushing on the flange. See the disc starting to come round to the bottom again. That is probably the sound of the brake shoes just coming past the little groove in the disc. So let's just get that level and see what's going on around the back here. There's your brake shoes that live in here, just sort of inside that area there, and they're just for the handbrake and nothing else. So let me take a bit of tension off that because there's something just not quite right about this. Take a bit of tension off.
Yep.
So what I've done there is just by backing these off a little bit, we've taken the tension off, it's made it loose. But because we've broken it away from the hub flange, it should just gently come away by hand now. I just carefully work that. There we go. And you can see now the big lip there that had formed, which is where the shoes must have been getting caught. That's how you get the disc off.